Most men don't understand why they can't walk away from a toxic relationship. They know it's draining them, they know it's full of drama, yet they keep going back. Why? Because toxic relationships don't just hurt, they hook you. They give you emotional highs and lows that feel like a drug, and once you're caught in that cycle, it's hard to break free. One moment, she makes you feel like the only man in the world. The next, she pulls away, leaving you desperate for her attention again. That push and pull creates a powerful bond, stronger than most men realize. It's not love, it's addiction. And unless you understand the psychology behind it, you'll keep mistaking that chaos for passion. In this video, I'm going to reveal why toxic relationships feel so addictive, the hidden tricks that keep you stuck, and how to break the cycle before it destroys your confidence and peace of mind. Point 1. The highs feel unreal. The first reason toxic relationships feel addictive is because of the emotional highs. When things are good, they feel too good. She's loving, affectionate, attentive, almost intoxicating. In those moments, you feel like the king of her world. The compliments, the affection, the way she makes you feel chosen, it's a rush. And that rush is exactly what hooks you. Because it's not steady, it's not consistent, it's rare. And rarity feels valuable. Here's the truth. Healthy relationships give you stability. Toxic ones give you spikes. They feed you just enough love to keep you coming back, but never enough to feel secure. Psychologically, this works the same way slot machines or casinos keep people hooked. It's called intermittent reinforcement. When rewards are unpredictable, your brain actually gets more addicted. You don't know when the next high is coming, so you cling harder, chasing the memory of the last one. Think about it. If she treated you well every day, you'd feel safe, calm, and stable. But when she treats you well sometimes and cold other times, your brain clings to the good moments and ignores the bad. You tell yourself, she's amazing when she wants to be. Maybe if I just try harder, I'll get that version of her all the time. That thought keeps you trapped. Most men mistake those highs for proof of love. They think, if it feels this good when it's good, it must be real. But that's the trap. The highs only feel so strong because of the lows that came before. Without the pain, the pleasure wouldn't feel as intoxicating. She creates the wound, then gives you the bandage, and you start to believe you need her to feel whole again. Here's the stronger move. Recognize that consistency, not chaos, is the true measure of love. If someone can only make you feel amazing part-time, but drains you the rest of the time, that's not passion, it's poison. Real attraction grows in stability, not addiction. So remember this, those highs aren't proof she's the one. They're proof you're in a cycle. The reason toxic relationships feel so addictive is because they train your brain to chase rare moments of affection like a drug. The man who falls for it gets stuck. The man who sees through it breaks free. Point 2. The lows create cravings. The second reason toxic relationships feel addictive is because the lows are brutal, and that pain makes you crave the highs even more. When she pulls away, ignores you, criticizes you, or gives you the silent treatment, it leaves a hole in your chest. You feel unsettled, anxious, like something is missing. That emptiness pushes you to chase her, apologize for things you didn't even do, and beg for her attention back. You're not craving her love. You're craving relief from the pain she created. Here's the truth. Toxic relationships weaponize withdrawal. Just like a drug dealer gives you a hit and then disappears, she gives you love and then rips it away. That sudden shift shocks your system. It creates doubt and fear. Did I lose her? Did I do something wrong? What if she never comes back? And those questions eat at you until you can't think about anything else. The more painful the low, the more desperate you become for the next high. That's not love, it's dependency. Psychologically, this cycle is called trauma bonding. Your brain links pain with pleasure, chaos with comfort. You convince yourself that enduring the lows is worth it because the highs feel so good. And the more you suffer through the lows, the more valuable the highs seem. It's the same twisted logic that keeps gamblers pulling slot machine levers. They lose more than they win, but the occasional victory feels huge. Most men misinterpret this craving. They tell themselves, I must really love her if I can't stop thinking about her when she pulls away. But that's not love. It's withdrawal. You're not addicted to her. You're addicted to the cycle. And the more you chase relief, the more control she has over you. The stronger move is to see the lows for what they are. Deliberate or not, they're part of the hook. If a relationship constantly drains you, leaving you restless and insecure, the problem isn't your effort. It's the cycle itself. Healthy love doesn't make you starve one day and binge the next. It feeds you consistently. So remember this, the lows are not accidents. They're the fuel that makes the highs feel addictive. Once you recognize that, you stop mistaking chaos for passion and start craving something real. Point 3. The cycle tricks your brain into thinking it's love. The third reason toxic relationships feel so addictive is because your brain mistakes the cycle of highs and lows for passion. When she showers you with affection, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of pleasure and reward. When she suddenly pulls away, criticizes you, or starts drama, your stress hormones spike. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your system. That constant swing between ecstasy and stress wires your brain to believe this is intensity. And intensity often gets confused with love. Here's the truth. Healthy love feels calm, steady, and consistent. Toxic love feels like a storm. And because most men crave excitement, they confuse the storm for something meaningful. They think, it must be real because I feel it so strongly. But what they're really feeling is chemical chaos. The rush isn't love. It's a biochemical roller coaster designed by the cycle she keeps you trapped in. Psychologically, this is why so many men stay in relationships that drain them. The brain gets hooked on unpredictability. Just like gamblers can't walk away from a slot machine because the next pull might win, you can't walk away from her because the next high might last. It's not devotion keeping you there. It's addiction. Most men don't see this clearly. They say things like, she drives me crazy, but I just can't quit her, as if that's proof of true love. But in reality, it's proof that the cycle has hijacked their nervous system. The chaos has become their normal. And once chaos feels normal, stability feels boring. That's why, after leaving a toxic woman, some men go back, because peace doesn't give them the same chemical rush. The stronger move is to detach feelings from facts. Just because it feels intense doesn't mean it's good for you. Fireworks are exciting, but they burn out fast. A steady flame is what warms you long term. If a relationship constantly leaves you drained, doubting yourself, or waiting for the next high, it's not love. It's chemical manipulation. So remember this. Addiction to toxic love isn't about her being special. It's about your brain being tricked. The cycle of chaos rewires you to think pain plus pleasure equals passion. But once you see the pattern, you can break free from it. Because real love doesn't come in cycles. It stays consistent, steady, and strong. Point 4. The illusion of scarcity keeps you hooked. Another reason toxic relationships feel so addictive is because of the illusion of scarcity. In a toxic cycle, affection, intimacy, and love aren't given freely or consistently. They're rationed. She gives you a taste of what you want, then suddenly withholds it. That scarcity makes those rare moments of affection feel like gold. You start to believe her love is rare, unique, and impossible to find anywhere else. That illusion is what keeps men stuck. Here's the truth. Real love isn't scarce. It's consistent. But when she deliberately withholds affection or makes you earn basic respect, your brain treats every crumb of validation as a feast. You'll hear yourself saying things like, "She's difficult, but when she's sweet, it's incredible." That's not a sign she's special. It's a sign you've been conditioned to see normal affection as rare treasure. Psychologically, scarcity increases value. This is why limited edition items sell out instantly and why people chase what they can't have. In toxic relationships, she becomes the limited edition, not because her love is actually rare, but because she restricts it. And once you buy into that illusion, you'll chase harder, compromise more, and tolerate things you never should, just to get another taste of what feels scarce. Most men mistake this for deep connection. They think, "I can't leave her because no one else makes me feel this way." But the only reason it feels so intense is because she starves you of affection, then feeds you in doses. If another woman gave you consistent care, you'd quickly see how weak the toxic bond actually was. But when you're inside it, scarcity blinds you. The stronger move is to break the illusion. Ask yourself, is her love truly special? Or is it just rare because she withholds it? Once you see that consistency is the real measure of value, the addiction weakens. A woman who genuinely values you won't ration affection. She'll give it freely, not because she has to, but because she wants to. So remember this: scarcity creates obsession, but it's an illusion. She's not rare, she's manipulative. Don't confuse being starved and fed in cycles with being loved. Real love isn't scarce. Real love shows up every day. Point 5. The fantasy of change keeps you chasing. Another reason. Toxic relationships feel so addictive is because of the fantasy you build in your head. You hold on to the idea that if she just changes, everything will be perfect. You remember the good times, the early days when she showered you with attention, and you convince yourself those moments are the real her. So every time she pulls away, lies, or lashes out, you excuse it because you're chasing the fantasy that she'll go back to being that sweet, affectionate woman. Here's the truth. The version of her that hooked you in the beginning was often the bait, not the reality. Toxic partners know how to pour it on in the start. Compliments, affection, promises, because that's how they reel you in. But once they know they have you, they shift, and the real behavior comes out. The problem is, your brain clings to that first version of her like it's proof she can come back if you just try harder. That's how men trap themselves for months, even years, in cycles that never change. Psychologically, this is called cognitive dissonance. You hold two conflicting beliefs. She treats me badly, and she's the one for me. To resolve the tension, you create excuses. She's stressed right now. She doesn't mean it. She'll change when things calm down. But those excuses aren't facts. They're coping mechanisms. They keep you stuck chasing the possibility of change instead of facing the reality of her behavior. Most men stay addicted because they confuse potential with reality. They think, if I just give her more love, more patience, more support, she'll change. But here's the hard truth. If she wanted to change, she already would have. Real change doesn't come from pressure, it comes from choice. And if she's not choosing to be consistent, respectful, and loving, then that potential is nothing more than fantasy. The stronger move is to separate memory from reality. Remembering how she treated you once doesn't excuse how she treats you now. If her present actions don't align with the fantasy in your head, stop chasing the fantasy. Because the longer you wait for her to change, the more power she has to keep you hooked. So remember this. It's not her potential that matters. It's her pattern. Stop investing in who she could be and start paying attention to who she is right now. That's how you break free from the trap. Point 6. Your ego gets trapped in the battle. Another reason toxic relationships feel so addictive is because your ego gets hooked. It's no longer just about her. It's about you proving to yourself that you can win. When she pulls away, criticizes you, or withholds affection, it hits your pride. You don't just feel rejected, you feel challenged. Suddenly, the relationship becomes a battle of validation. You tell yourself, if I can just make her love me again, I'll prove my worth. And that mindset keeps you locked in, not because she's special, but because your ego refuses to lose. Here's the truth. Toxic partners know exactly how to use your ego against you. They give you just enough recognition to hook you, then take it away to test how far you'll chase. Every time you jump through hoops, they gain more control. You're not leading anymore, you're performing. And the more you perform, the more invested you become, even when you're not happy. Your pride won't let you admit you're losing, so you double down. Psychologically, this is called the sunk cost fallacy. The more time, energy, and effort you put into something, the harder it is to walk away, even when it's failing. You don't want to feel like you wasted all that effort, so you keep fighting to make it work. But the harder you fight, the more you sink into the trap. And in toxic relationships, that trap is endless because she'll never give you the validation you're chasing. Most men confuse this battle with love. They think, I can't let her go because I care too much. But often, it's not love. It's ego. It's the fear of losing, of admitting the relationship isn't what they wanted it to be. The addiction comes from needing to prove something, not from genuine connection. The stronger move is to step back and separate ego from reality. Ask yourself, am I staying because she truly adds value to my life, or because I don't want to feel like I lost? If it's ego, you're not fighting for love. You're fighting your own pride. And pride is a terrible reason to stay in a relationship that drains you. So remember this. Love doesn't feel like a battle you have to win. If you're stuck proving your worth over and over, you're not in love, you're in a trap. And the man who lets go of ego is the man who finally finds freedom. Point 7. The fear of starting over chains you down. The final reason toxic relationships feel so addictive is because of the fear of starting over. Deep down, you know the relationship is draining you. You know the cycle is unhealthy. But the thought of walking away and facing the unknown feels heavier than staying where you are. You've already invested time, energy, emotions, maybe even years. And the idea of leaving makes you think, what if I never find someone else? What if I wasted all this effort? What if I start over and it's even worse? That fear keeps men locked in far longer than they should be. Here's the truth. Staying in something toxic out of fear is not loyalty. It's self-destruction. The relationship feels addictive not because she's irreplaceable, but because your mind convinces you the alternative is scarier. Toxic partners play into this fear. They'll say things like, no one else will love you like I do, or you'll regret leaving me. They know planting doubt makes you hesitate, and hesitation keeps you trapped. Psychologically, this is tied to loss aversion. Humans hate losing more than they love winning. So instead of focusing on what you'll gain by leaving, peace, freedom, respect, you focus on what you think you'll lose. That mindset blinds you to the truth. What you're losing daily by staying is far greater than anything you fear by leaving. Most men confuse this fear with attachment. They say, I can't leave because I love her too much, when in reality, it's not love. It's fear of the unknown. The addiction doesn't come from her being special. It comes from you being afraid to face life without her. But here's the reality. Freedom always feels scary at first. Every man who breaks free from toxicity feels fear. But on the other side of fear is relief, peace, and clarity. The stronger move is to reframe starting over as opportunity, not loss. You're not losing years. You're reclaiming the years ahead. You're not losing love. You're freeing yourself to find real love. And once you take that step, you realize the hardest part was never leaving her. It was leaving the illusion she created. So remember this. Fear keeps you chained, but courage sets you free. Toxic relationships feel addictive because they prey on your fear of starting over. But the moment you face that fear, the addiction breaks. And that's when you finally take your power back. Conclusion. Now you understand why toxic relationships feel so addictive. They're not built on love. They're built on cycles. The highs feel unreal. The lows create cravings. And the back and forth chaos tricks your brain into thinking intensity equals passion. She creates the wound, then becomes the cure. She withholds affection, then gives it in rare doses, making it feel like gold. She keeps you hooked with promises of change, feeds your ego battles, and chains you down with your fear of starting over. That's not love. It's addiction dressed as romance. Most men stay stuck because they confuse pain for passion. They tell themselves, if it feels this strong, it must be real. But strong doesn't always mean healthy. What you're feeling isn't devotion. It's manipulation of your emotions and biology. And until you break that illusion, you'll keep mistaking chaos for connection. The truth is simple. Real love doesn't drain you. It builds you. Real love doesn't starve you, then feed you crumbs. It's steady, consistent, and secure. If you're stuck in a toxic cycle, recognize it for what it is, not what you wish it could be. Because the moment you stop confusing addiction with love, you take back your freedom, your peace, and your power.